so I'm back, and we have made it to Saturn in the 11th house synastry. So, with Saturn in 11th house synastry, this is the thing, okay? There's a seriousness that comes here, all right? But there's a couple things leading to any type of synastry in any type of relationship. There could be a situation to where there's some sort of affiliation, friendship, friend circle, acquaintances, or whatever, to where these two want to be together or they like each other, but there's for some reason they can't completely come together. Like it's this friend thing. It's like, okay, well, I don't know how this will work. Like it's crossing some sort of friendship line or barrier. I see this also to where maybe one partner could be interested in the other partner, but they keep it a secret. They don't really make it known all the time because they don't know what the other person is thinking or feeling concerning them, or there is something in place to where it's like, okay, I can't cross this line. You could cross the line, and some do, but it could be at the expense of losing a friendship or some sort of some sort of social circle or something like that. Okay, that's happening here. That's at play. That could be, this is why we don't cross the lines. Saturn could be particularly critical, standoffish, or really, in disagreement with the 11th house person's associations, friends, whereabouts, circles, whatever, affiliations. The 11th house person doesn't completely understand this because they're just like, okay, look, I want to be free. I want to do what I want. I'm not hurting anybody. You should just trust me. This is who I was. This is the people that I knew before you came. And for some reason, Saturn may approach this situation from the guise of they can change this person. They can change things. And they can. Don't get me wrong. They can. They can change things. Like, they can literally come in and affect the 11th house person's life, really. These two, because it can happen by way of like when these two get together, they hang out, they can distance themselves from other people. Like, they can restrict themselves from other people or restrict the access to that other people have to them. And it could be a situation to where it's like their people, their friends, associates, it's like, okay, you acting different since you got with Saturn, or you're acting different. Like, you act like you don't have time for me. You're acting too good for us, because it depends on who this Saturn person is. Like, this Saturn person could definitely have some sort of status or something. They could take things very serious. And the 11th house person, it just depends. It depends, because it's kind of like I said, 11th house person has that feel to where they're like, okay, well, Saturn, you knew that I wasn't well off. You knew the type of background that I had. You knew the type of friends I associated with. Saturn can come in and change the 11th house person's status, though. Like, put them in circles that's like where, business savvy or professional circles. And this could be good for the 11th house person if the 11th house person is ready for this or wants this. Because you have to understand that with Saturn, there are these restrictions. Because 11th house person can completely just be, it's a house of Aquarius. I will say this. Saturn also rules Aquarius. So where there is some rebellion with Aquarius does have this way about themselves where they can be methodical in nature. But it's all about information for them, what they know. So the best approach that Saturn can take with the 11th house person is don't get in there and just trying to boss the 11th house person around and then restricting them from things and people in their alliances and their resources, in the sense to where, you know, these people that they built these relationships with, or saying, hey, you got to act this way or that way, dress this way, that way, look this way or that way, because Saturn's ego wants to see it. And I'm not going to just say Saturn's ego, because, you know, Saturn could be making a good point, because it's like, okay, well, you can't just approach life the way that you want every single time, Aquarius. You have to have some sort of discipline to it. It's like it's a process. Saturn can definitely help the 11th house person understand this, but at the same time, Saturn's best approach that it has to go about doing this is through communication and maybe teaching the 11th house person something. Like, put it in the form of like, okay, well, I'm informing you in a way to where you're like more coming off as supplying the 11th house person with knowledge and communication, versus this is what you got to do, being manipulative and things of that nature. Because remember, Saturn is intimidated, possibly. Because just because Saturn doesn't agree with something does not mean that Saturn is right. Saturn could always wanted to have let his hair down. The Saturn person like, okay, well, let me let my hair down and let me be free and let me do, be associated with the people that I want. But my lifestyle for some reason doesn't let me. Or even within, it's something within Saturn, you know, that won't let them. And so it doesn't mean that there's something necessarily wrong with the 11th house person. You know, the 11th house person could really teach Saturn how to let go and loosen up a little bit and expand its social circles too. And that could actually get Saturn further along. These two individuals can put each other in the right place with the right people, you know, especially 11th house person doing this for the Saturn person, you know. So it could definitely come off as more of a, not business relationship, but like the relationship that it could be more, I don't even want, listen, guys, the reason why I said it could come off as a friendship, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm stuttering because I'm trying to work my way around this friendship thing. Because, okay, they could meet inside of some sort of weird situation or whatever, but at the same time, there could be, you know, that friend vibe could come from, okay, well, you know, for a while we're interacting with each other, but we're just friends. We're off limits to each other because of the restrictions from Saturn. You see what I'm saying? So these two can actually be friends, because it could be even like a restriction to that. Like, okay, well, we're doing this thing. We're going through the emotions of the relationship, but at the same time, we can't really be friends. Like, we don't operate. It's like Saturn won't really allow, there's a separation of like, okay, well, yeah, you go off 11th house person and be with your friends or whatever, because, you know, you feel like Saturn doesn't approve or something, you know, or the 11th house person feels like Saturn's being too judgmental, or Saturn is like, well, I have to maintain, or Saturn person won't let themselves free enough. Like they keep trying to, they're in this this experience, and it's kind of hard for them to let go and experience other things and experiencing other people in situations outside of what's known for them. So there could be this, oh, well, I'm with you, you with me, but there's a separation in the display of that, possibly. Or when they do come together with each other, they're friends and you know, people that they're usually involved with can think that they're an odd couple. Like, they can think that they're weird. Like, how did y'all two meet each other? It's weird to explain. An 11th house person could feel like the Saturn person is putting a damper on what they want in life, like what they really want, like to just live that. But at the same time, the Saturn person could actually make the 11th house person really look at the reality of certain things and where they want to be. Like if there's something that they want to do and they want to move towards and they always wanted to do, Saturn can help the 11th house person focus that in and take practical steps to reaching those goals. And it could be like maybe a teacher student type relationship, being interested in your teacher with his synastry, or student where this synastry plays out. It could definitely be that. But it's kind of like accepting each other's uniqueness, accepting each other's differences, and then understanding how to intertwine your world together by accepting each other and just, communicating to each other and letting each other know, like, well, this just makes me feel uncomfortable. It's not you. And then working on just understanding, like, if I'm going to be with this person is this way. That's how they were when I met them. But at the same time, there's always room for growth. Because it's kind of like, okay, well, yeah, we can't always be the same. And I'm not trying to change you. But for the growth of our relationship, how can we grow together? You see what I'm saying? Respecting each other. All right. So Saturn in the 11th house synastry. I'm Butterfly to Light. And I will be back.